Yes, guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. Arsenal have been linked with Joshua Kimmich, and of course, you know it. I was always gonna do a video about it. I love Joshua Kimmich. He's one of the best defensive midfielders in the world, but for me, he's one of the most versatile players in the world. He plays at right back, he plays in number 6, he plays at number 8. He's absolutely lovable and gorgeous. And what a time for us to be linked with Joshua Kimmich when Thomas Partey and Jorginho could both be leaving in the summer. And of course, Arsenal definitely need a potential replacement for those guys. So we're going to be diving into the story on Joshua Kimmich. I think it's a big one. I think it's going to be a big transfer for the summer. Couple of clubs interested, not only Arsenal. I've been looking at Real Madrid as well. I've been looking at Manchester City as well. And I think the big story is that Bayern are willing to actually listen to offers for Joshua Kimmich in the summer, and there are no contract negotiations at the moment as we speak. We'll be talking about ESR, who's going to be part of a massive Arsenal exodus in this summer. It looks like his future at Arsenal is coming to an end, and I've always talked about it that I love him as a player and I really do feel for him, but it just feels like this Arsenal project is running too fast, and some players have actually been left behind. You talk about the likes of Nuno Tavares, you talk about the likes of Edin Ketia, Florian Balogun, Albert Sambi-Lokonga. I think Arsenal are developing at a very quick rate. Some players are signing new contracts, and some players, it is clearly evident they won't be at the club come next season. We'll be talking about Reece Nelson as well. Brighton are interested, and Arsenal are hoping they could raise about 25 to 30 million pounds in the Englishman who has just signed a new deal last summer. So hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Let's get ourselves dreaming about Joshua Kimmich. What do you think about this story? It is one that I really like, because I really do like the interesting stories. I really do like those big stories. And for me, Joshua Kimmich is a level above. He's one. I mean, his signing, I would only equate it to the period when Arsenal signed to the period when Arsenal signed Thomas Partey. During that time, that is how big a signing Joshua Kimmich is. So, according to Pletigo, of course, they're coming in from Florian Plettenberg. He says Bayern are prepared to sell Joshua Kimmich in this summer if a suitable offer comes in. Only 5 top clubs are in consideration for Kimmich. Manchester City is one of them. Liverpool, Arsenal, Real Madrid, and and Barcelona. He also says some of the mentioned 5 clubs have already contacted Joshua Kimmich for a potential transfer deal in the coming summer. So that's according to Florian Plettenberg. You can call him Pletigo right there on Twitter. So listen, big story, really big story. And it's not a big story only to Arsenal. It's a big story to Bayern. It's a big story to Real Madrid. It's a big story to Manchester City, and it's a big story to FC Barcelona as well. And the first thing I'm gonna say is that he is a top player with top goals, right? And that's why you see on that list, Pletigo says there are only 5 clubs in consideration for him. He's not considering many clubs. He's just considering a few. And those few, you have Manchester City, Arsenal, Liverpool, Real Madrid, and FC Barcelona. And in my opinion, Barca is not there. I mean, we know that Barca do need a replacement for Busquets, and he could be the perfect guy. He could be the perfect replacement. Of course, you're never gonna get another Busquets, and we've already established that. We have seen Rodri play for Spain, and we have understood that there is no other Busquets. You've got to work with what you have. And I think Barca also know that they're not going to get Rodri from Manchester City. It's not going to happen. It will never happen. So the only option they have right now is Joshua Kimmich. But can they afford him? Do they have the money? I don't think financially they're at a place that they, where they can sign Joshua Kimmich. I don't think it's going to go for anything below 50 million, for anything below 60 million. I think it's going to be 60 to 80 million pounds for Joshua Kimmich. His contract, of course, is running down. That is why I'm speculating that we might have kind of a dip in what Bayern are going to get in terms of the transfer fee. But make no mistake, he is a quality player. So I think this story really comes in at a very good time, because Mikel Arteta now knows that You cannot keep Jorginho and Partey and El Neni at the same time. I really have a feeling that Jorginho's contract will be extended by an extra year, given the fact that he's done very well starting with 1st January 2024 until now. He's played so well, and he's allowed Declan Rice a lot of freedom, a lot of space to go in behind, get those off the ball runs, and score a couple of goals in the penalty area in the end. But you can't rely on this 35-year-old. You can't rely on Mohamed El Neni, who we know in the summer should be leaving Arsenal regardless. He could take on a different position at the club, but he cannot be a player anymore for Arsenal Football Club. And Thomas Partey's unreliability and unavailability always means that you can't rely on him. You really cannot be thinking Rice and Partey are going to be the future of Arsenal's midfield, especially one backing up the other. So that means that Arsenal have to look to the market and find one player that can do a role that actually combines everything those three players give you. Jorginho's ability to control the tempo of the game, but also his ability to just manage games. Then Thomas Partey's physicality and ball-winning ability, but then his ability in ball progression. And of course, Mohamed El Neni's physicality. And I think at times what is really underrated is his ability to shoot outside the penalty area. So when we look at the market and we think about one player that has all those attributes, you could talk about Martin Zubimendi, who is actually not a bad player, and I would love to see Martin Zubimendi in the Premier League. Probably Arsenal, I don't have a problem with him, but there is a better guy, and there is a better package, and that package is Joshua Kimmich. So for me, Kimmich, and he is the ceiling of a midfielder. He is the ceiling of a modern day midfielder. I won't be surprised for him to go to Manchester City, and I won't be surprised if he comes to Arsenal. I think Mikel Arteta will do whatever it takes to get Joshua Kimmich at the Emirates Stadium. I think Pep Guardiola will do whatever it takes to get Joshua Kimmich, to the Etihad Stadium. I think with Real Madrid, we've got to ask a question: do they really need Joshua Kimmich? They do have Aurelien Tchouameni, who I think is going to be there for quite some time and a long time as well. So I don't think they're going to invest another chunk of money in a position where they already have Aurelien Tchouameni and Eduardo Camavinga. So with Real Madrid, of course, they can try to sign him, but I'm not really sure they're going to get into a bidding war. Secondly, like I said, Barcelona, for me, I'm not really convinced about them. But then the other club that is really going to be in good running is going to be Liverpool. Liverpool will try to get Joshua Kimmich. The only question is going to be, who is going to be the next manager at Liverpool? If he's not better than Mikel Arteta, if he's not better than Pep Guardiola, we might see a replica of what we saw last summer with Declan Rice, where Manchester City and Arsenal were the two front runners for Declan Rice, and at that time Arsenal did come out on top because Manchester City said we cannot be paying 80 million or 100 million. So the question is, will Manchester City this time beat Arsenal onto this one, or will we go ahead again and win the transfer race for Joshua Kimmich? So I want to know what's going to happen, but of course he is available. Crazy stuff. Top talent, top player. I want to see what happens. It's gonna be a very interesting summer because some managers are moving here and there. Players, big names are actually moving here and there. It's gonna be more of a striker market. Madrid needing one, Arsenal needing one, Chelsea needing one, Man United potentially needing another, and a couple of other clubs that will be looking here and there to replace some of their old strikers like FC Barcelona. So I want to be as part and parcel of that transfer window. But what does Joshua Kimmich bring to this Arsenal side, and why is it not only exciting but also effective and very relevant that Arsenal try to sign him in this coming summer? So he's one of the players that really have the experience when it comes to football and footballing wise. He's played at right back, he's played in multiple positions, but importantly, he's won 8 Bundesliga titles with FC Bayern. They're currently trying to salvage their season and try to win a 9th one. But of course, that also depends on Bayer Leverkusen dropping points. But a player was won 8 Bundesliga titles. I always believe this, that Mikel Arteta is signing winners. And this is not only because, because of the recent signings that we have made, but also you look at the quality of players that he has been trying to look out for, the quality of players that he's been looking to sign in this side. Players with pedigree, players with experience, even at a very young age, and that experience at a young age comes from playing a lot of minutes. It comes from the ability for them to captain sides and lead sides, and their ability to win some titles. So Joshua Kimmich, as a winner, he's won the Champions League. He's won the Bundesliga. He's won the DFB Pokal. It means that this guy doesn't have anything else left for him to win in Germany. He just needs to go to either Spain or to the Premier League for him to find a new challenge. And it's going to be a massive boost to this Arsenal side if we can get him. A guy that knows where to turn in the UEFA Champions League advanced stages. And, we all say Arsenal are better than Bayern at the moment, and maybe it could be revenge and all that. But one thing Bayern have that we do not have is UEFA Champions League pedigree players and UEFA Champions League veterans. So Goretzka has been there for quite some time. I think we know Kimmich has been there for quite some time. Manuel Neuer has been there for some time, and him and Thibaut Courtois could win you a game single-handedly. Liverpool will bear me witness in their last Champions League final against Real Madrid. Single-handedly, Thibaut Courtois made sure that they couldn't go through, and they lost the title. So that is the beauty with Bayern, that you have the likes of Serge Gnabry that have played in the Champions League consistently. Leroy Sané as well has been there for quite some time consistently. And that kind of pool and that kind of quality could actually allow Bayern to progress through to the semi-finals, even when Arsenal play better football and even when Arsenal look like the better side. So Kimmich, bring him in, because that experience, that pedigree, we will need when we, in the future, when we play Man City on the finals of the Champions League, when we play Bayern on the quarterfinals, and when we play Real Madrid on the semi-finals, we will need that pedigree. And this guy has got the experience and that pedigree. But apart from that, apart from the ability to bring that kind of experience, he's a talent guy. He's a baller guy. Come on, like, Joshua Kimmich is, like I said, for me, he's the closest thing to you having the perfect midfielder, right? And just think about Jorginho without the legs, without the energy to go for 180 minutes, 90 minutes, 38 games. So replace that with Joshua Kimmich. Plays 38 games when he's not injured. He can play every single game in the Champions League. And him coupled with Declan Rice, with Odegaard and Kai Havertz in midfield, Arsenal will become unstoppable. That signing is going to seal the fate of many teams. Man United, I'm talking to you. Manchester City, I'm talking to you. Liverpool without Jurgen Klopp, I'm talking to you. Kimmich and Rice and Odegaard and Kai Havertz, that is the epitome of beauty in midfield. But of course, we'll talk about Joshua Kimmich and how we'd set up Arsenal right on Cossy's Arsenal podcast. So make sure you do watch out for that video. Now, like I said, Thomas Partey offers will be listened to and accepted by Arsenal. It looks like his time at the club is coming to an end, and it is actually rightly so. I always think that the likes of Declan Rice, the likes of Albert Sabila, their arrival has been telling us something about Mikel Arteta's, move from Partey to a new midfield. And he tried it with Albert Samile and it didn't work. And now he decided to go 100 million full on and sign that big boy there, Declan Rice. So for me, if Arsenal are going to sign in someone like Zubimendi or bring in someone like Joshua Kimmich, I don't think Thomas Partey's future is still at Arsenal. I won't be surprised to see him leave the club. I love him, but of course, when you get this guy, it means that Thomas Partey will have to leave as well. Now, Emile Smith Rowe, sadly, is one of the players that are set for a massive exodus at Arsenal Football Club. And this is a story that has been exclusively broken by the guys at transfers.com. So they're saying that Arsenal are set for a mass exodus to boost their transfer funds with 3 players set for chop. And one of those players is my boy, Emile Smith Rowe. Now, I do like Emile Smith Rowe, and again, he's one of those players that I would love to see staying at Arsenal. But the big question for me with Emile Smith Rowe is that, is he really going to become important again? Now, one thing we have seen with Pep Guardiola is that a player can easily fall out of favor for one campaign and then regain his position the next campaign. This season, we have not seen much of Jack Grealish, but last season, he was the guy, right? Phil Foden has been like too much this campaign. Maybe last season, maybe not too much. But when it comes to Mikel Arteta, he's got a key weakness. And that weakness is squad rotation. And I think of all the things he picked up from Pep Guardiola, the one thing he doesn't like and the one thing he doesn't do is squad rotation. So for a player like Emile Smith Rowe, with his talent, he will need to be in the team almost each and every single day for him to make an impact. And I don't think he's going to make that impact because with Kai Havertz now on fire, Odegaard is irreplaceable, Declan Rice is untouchable, and maybe Arsenal could sign a number 6, and that is the free role that Emile Smith Rowe cannot cover. I really think Emile Smith Rowe is done at Arsenal. Not really done that he can't really provide value, but done because the manager is actually not so good with rotation, to be honest. Ever since Tomiyasu came back from Japan, he's not actually played a lot of minutes, and that shows you that Mikel Arteta, whenever he gets a clicking 11, he would rather stick with that until something goes wrong. Another player that I think is going to be victim of this is going to be Reiss Nelson. Again, according to transfers.com, Reiss Nelson is set to leave Arsenal, and Brighton are interested to sign him in the summer. Arsenal hoping 25-30 million could get the deal done, and Brighton signing Reiss Nelson, I am not really sure. I'm really skeptical. Why? Because they always look out for the good talent, and I think he's a very good talent, but I just don't believe he is the level that Arsenal require. I mean, you could let me know in the comment box below if I'm wrong about this. At times I really get things wrong, but Reiss Nelson to Brighton, I would definitely sell him for anything less than 20 million. I'll speak to you right in the next one. The big story today, Joshua Kimmich is on the radar for Arsenal, and Arsenal are on the radar for Joshua Kimmich.